So this is how it all unravels, not with a sudden injury timeout, not with a league statement, but with silence. Deafening corporate silence. Caitlin Clark, the phenom who resurrected an entire league, is now limping her way through a season that's becoming less about basketball and more about survival. The bruises aren't just physical, they're symbolic. They represent every missed whistle, every shrug from the officials, and every time Adam Silver turned his back on the very star who gave the WNBA its first taste of global spotlight. The narrative is no longer about a rookie learning the ropes. It's about a superstar being set up to fail violently. And fans? Oh, they've had it. They're not sitting back quietly anymore. They watch as Clark's body takes hit after hit, while the people in charge offer nothing but platitudes and vague references to league culture. Adam Silver is supposed to be the face of basketball progress. But right now, he looks like the man asleep at the wheel of a runaway train. Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, name the platform, and you'll find it flooded with outrage. Clips of Clark getting fouled without a single whistle. Commentators awkwardly dancing around what they're seeing in real time. It's not just an athlete being mistreated. It's a symbol of systemic negligence. And where is Silver? Hiding behind Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, as if the organizational hierarchy excuses his silence. It's the Stones aren't stupid. They know who really pulls the strings. This isn't just bad optics. It's a catastrophic leadership failure. A league that claims to champion women's empowerment is now overseeing one of the most dangerous and humiliating campaigns a superstar has faced in modern sports. And it's not just Clark's fans calling it out. It's former players, journalists, sponsors. Everyone's pointing fingers, and they all seem to be aimed directly at Adam Silver. Now, let's talk about that All-Star game, the one Clark was supposed to headline in her home city, the one where ticket prices skyrocketed the moment her name was attached to the roster, the one she had to miss because of a groin injury so obviously caused by unchecked aggression that even opposing coaches couldn't look the other way. This wasn't just an absence, it was a gut punch to the league's momentum. The face of the WNBA was sidelined, and it wasn't bad luck, it was bad leadership. The statement Clark released through the team was heartbreaking in its professionalism. "I have to rest my body," she said. But what she didn't say was even louder. She didn't blame anyone. She didn't point fingers. Because she didn't have to. The footage spoke volumes. From kneecaps to kidneys, Clark has become a target in every arena she enters. Opponents aren't playing defense, they're playing demolition derby. And yet nothing. No flagrant calls, no fines, no suspensions. Just another welcome to the league moment, they say. But let's not pretend this is normal. The level of physicality Clark is absorbing isn't just excessive, it's dangerous. We're talking about a league where 141 injuries have occurred among 179 players in just 44 games. That's not wear and tear, that's institutional rot. And when Clark falls, fans don't just gasp, they scream. Because this isn't just a game anymore. It's a litmus test for how much women's sports really matter to the people in charge. The hypocrisy from the top is staggering. Adam Silver, the man who loves to boast about social justice, equality, and player safety in NBA circles, has suddenly lost his voice. This is the same commissioner who would issue league-wide memos if someone sneezed in LeBron James' direction. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark being repeatedly battered on national television, crickets. It's the kind of double standard that turns fans into cynics and turns goodwill into flames. And now the media is waking up too. The Washington Post, a publication not known for hot takes, just joked that the WNBA should change its logo to a bruise. When satire turns into headlines, you know it's serious. This isn't isolated criticism. It's a storm. And it's barreling straight through Adam Silver's carefully curated image. The progressive commissioner, the champion of equality. Where is that guy now? Certainly not courtside watching Clark get tackled. Even coaches are fumbling the bag. Stephanie White, Clark's head coach, claimed she had no idea about the groin injury until the night before the All-Star game. This, despite the fact that fans had seen Clark playing with visible leg tape in previous matchups. So which is it? Incompetence or dishonesty? Because neither is acceptable when you're dealing with the health of the league's most valuable player. One moment from the Seattle Storm game tells you everything you need to know. The Fever were already out of the game. The result didn't matter. But there was Caitlin Clark limping, grimacing, and still being sent back onto the court. And then it happened. She fell. The groin flared up. She stayed on the floor longer than anyone should have. And everyone just kept going like it was nothing. That wasn't just a physical fall. It was symbolic of how far the league standards have dropped. Now, let's zoom out and talk numbers. The WNBA has been losing around $20 million a year for 2 decades. It wasn't until Clark came along that attendance spiked. Ratings climbed and sponsors started paying attention. She didn't just change the game, she saved it. And how does the league repay her? By refusing to enforce even the most basic standards of player protection. That's not just negligence, that's corporate sabotage. And it gets worse. Fans are drawing comparisons to the NBA, and the differences are stark. Imagine if Steph Curry was being targeted with elbows and knees every night. You think Silver would sit on his hands? Not a chance. He'd have refs issuing suspensions like parking tickets. But with Clark, she's left to fend for herself. The double standard is so egregious, it's become its own storyline. Now, medical experts are weighing in, and the diagnosis isn't pretty. Groin injuries like Clark's are often the result of overcompensation for other injuries. In this case, likely the quad she injured earlier in the season. This is classic sports medicine. One injury causes another, and if Clark rushes back, which she's likely to do, it could spiral into something career-threatening. We're no longer talking about missed games. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about legacy. And let's not ignore the international stakes here. Clark brought global attention to the WNBA. She put the league on maps it had never touched before. But now, international fans are watching highlight reels of her getting fouled, shoved, and ignored by officials. That's not just bad for Clark. That's a stain on American basketball as a whole. You can't sell progress and then show violence. The two cancel each other out. Sponsors are already getting cold feet. Some have reportedly voiced concerns about aligning their brands with a league that can't protect its own. They didn't sign up for women's MMA. They signed up for women's basketball. When your marquee player is your biggest liability, that's not just a marketing problem. It's a business crisis. And every day Silver stays silent, more money slips through the cracks. And here comes the most damning aspect of it all. This isn't just a Caitlin Clark issue. Other stars are going down, too. Aya Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier. The list is growing. But because none of them brought the same spotlight as Clark, their injuries get less attention. Still, the pattern is undeniable. This is a league-wide epidemic, and no one in power seems equipped or willing to fix it. So what happens next? The league keeps moving. The games go on. But every time Clark's name is left off a lineup, every time she sits on the bench with a wrapped leg or a distant stare, fans remember. They remember the plays that weren't called, the hits that weren't penalized, the silence that wasn't broken. It builds, week by week, game by game, until the WNBA's most valuable asset becomes its greatest liability, not because of anything she did wrong, but because the league refused to shield her from what everyone else could see coming. And what about the next generation? The little girls in the stands wearing number 22 jerseys, the ones who begged their parents for tickets the second Caitlin Clark was drafted. What are they supposed to think? That if they become great, they'll be targeted too? That their talent makes them disposable if the league doesn't have the guts to defend them? This isn't just about Clark anymore. It's about the message the league is sending to every young female athlete watching. The players know it. You can see it in their eyes during interviews. You can hear it in their voices. Strained, cautious, calculated. No one wants to say too much, but everyone knows too much has already happened. Some have spoken out. Others stay silent, fearful of fines or repercussions. But beneath the surface, the unity is building. The locker rooms are buzzing. These aren't isolated incidents anymore. They're patterns. And patterns are dangerous, especially when they start costing careers. And then there's the timing. The WNBA just struck a massive new media deal, largely riding the wave of Caitlin Clark's arrival. TV slots, merchandise deals, streaming packages. It was all green lights and rising charts. But all of that hinges on one thing, availability. And right now, Clark isn't available. Not to fans, not to the media, not to the league that leaned on her so hard it forgot she was human. And the fallout from that could be devastating, because you can't sell a product when your best feature is broken. You can't hype a game when the headline act is out with another injury. And you definitely can't build a sustainable future when the foundation is getting cracked every single night. Adam Silver should know this. He's overseen the rise of the NBA into a global powerhouse. But somehow, under his watch, the WNBA is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions. And still no accountability. No emergency press conference. No league memo. Not even a generic "we support our athletes" tweet. Just silence. And every day that silence grows louder, it echoes across social media. It bleeds into halftime panels. It infects the press conferences. And the fans, once hopeful, once energized by Clark's arrival, are now angry. And they have every right to be, because they were promised a revolution. What they got was regression. Even analysts who once championed the league are backing away. Some are asking uncomfortable questions. Is this fixable? Is it too late? Can Silver still salvage what's left? Because make no mistake, this is a salvage operation now. The house is on fire, and the man with the hose is nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, every uncalled foul is another log on the blaze. Every no comment is more gasoline, and the flames are starting to spread. This scandal isn't just about violence. It's about visibility. It's about the hypocrisy of telling the world you care about women's sports while standing idly by as your brightest star gets dimmed before our very eyes. The same league that sold empowerment and inclusivity is now selling damage control and excuses. And guess what? The fans aren't buying it anymore. They're demanding receipts. They want change, and they want it now. And the moment this flips, if it hasn't already, it won't just be a league problem. It'll be a cultural reckoning. This is a generation that sees everything, that shares everything, that organizes, mobilizes, and demands better. They've made Caitlin Clark a symbol, not just a skill, but of injustice. And when a symbol starts to fall, people rise up, protests, petitions, boycotts. These aren't wild predictions. They're what happens when institutions fail the people they claim to support. So what's the next move? Because silence is no longer strategy. It's a confession of failure, of indifference, of cowardice. The WNBA needs a course correction, and it needs it fast, and it starts at the top. Adam Silver has to stop hiding behind the title of NBA commissioner and start acting like a steward of the entire sport, because that's what he is, whether he likes it or not. And this course correction can't be superficial. It can't be a highlight reel of smiles and jersey swaps. It needs real structural change. Overhaul the officiating protocols. Implement mandatory video reviews for flagrant fouls. Hire more qualified referees. Expand medical staff. Introduce transparent injury reporting. And above all, protect your stars. Because if you can't protect Caitlin Clark, you can't protect the league she saved. And make no mistake, she saved it. The WNBA was teetering before she arrived. Casual fans weren't watching. Sponsors were pulling out. TV deals were drying up. Then came Clark, a storm in sneakers, a one-woman ratings machine. And now she's limping through a career that's only just begun. If the league lets that story end in tragedy, it won't just lose a player. It'll lose the trust of an entire generation. This is bigger than basketball. It's about the treatment of women in professional sports. It's about the illusion of progress. It's about a culture that says all the right things but does all the wrong ones. Caitlin Clark is the litmus test. And so far, the league is failing badly. Every foul ignored is a verdict. Every injury unaddressed is a ruling. And the court of public opinion is keeping score. But there's still time. Time to rewrite the narrative. Time to stop the bleeding. Time to turn this disaster into a defining moment. But it will take more than words. It will take leadership. It will take policy. And it will take a level of accountability that has been missing for far too long. Because the next injury could be the one that ends everything. And if that happens, no one will be able to say they didn't see it coming. So here's the final word. For now, Caitlin Clark isn't asking for special treatment. She's asking for fair treatment. And the fact that even that is considered controversial tells you everything you need to know about how broken things really are. The league has a choice: protect its players or protect its silence. But it can't do both, and the clock is ticking fast. So now, fans are connecting the dots. With CBA negotiations on the horizon, injured players may have less bargaining power. That has people asking a terrifying question. Is this chaos by design? Is the league allowing this physicality to continue because it serves a larger business agenda? It sounds conspiratorial until you realize how long the silence has gone on and how much silver stand to gain from a weakened players' union. And finally, let's talk about legacy. Adam Silver had a chance to be the commissioner who finally bridged the gap between men's and women's professional basketball. He had the opportunity to back up his progressive words with action, but instead, he's overseeing a public relations meltdown, a player safety crisis, and potentially the unraveling of the WNBA's greatest growth spurt in history. And for what? To avoid accountability? The fans have spoken. They're not just mad, they're mobilized. Every tweet, every clip, every comment is a demand for change, and they're not going away until someone takes responsibility. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player anymore. She's a movement. And if Adam Silver doesn't realize it soon, he won't just be the commissioner who failed her. He'll be the one who failed the entire future of women's basketball.